Hey y'all. Good morning. How y'all doing? Good. Well, welcome everybody to Q to Q to Career here at Mars Hill University. We're getting on Zoom calls at least once a week to try and talk to other people out in the world who are going forth and doing the thing. So today we are hanging out with our friend Noel Barry. Noel was my roommate here at Mars Hill and later on in grad school in Florida. And I'm just going to ask you a few questions. We're just going to chat it up and you're gonna let us know how you've been so lovely and joyful and successful in life the last 20 years. Um, so will you just let us know a little bit about your journey? I did mention you were here at Mars Hill with me back in the day, but how did you
Yep.
get started in theater in general? How did you grow into stage management, directing, acting, now teaching, all these things?
Okay. So I grew up in South Florida. I grew up in a city called Boca Raton. And growing up, I always did little plays and operettas during school. And it wasn't really until high school that I started to take things seriously. I used to be a four-sport athlete before I got into the arts. And then my high school career, I focused on one sport. And then I kind of died out of that. And I took a stagecraft class in high school and I didn't know anything. I didn't know a paintbrush from a power tool. I couldn't tell you what everything. But my theater teacher at the time, Miss Vigneault, was very sweet and kind of taught me the things. And then I ended up working backstage for two productions that year. We did The Nerd by Larry Shue, who also wrote The Foreigner, if you know that script. And we did Jesus Christ Superstar was our spring musical. So we had a really good time doing all that kind of stuff. See, as I told you, here come my kids. So that's kind of where I started. And then I thought I was going to go to college to be an English major. I thought I was going to teach English. I had always enjoyed history and English and storytelling. And I, through friends, when I decided to go to Mars Hill, said go meet the theater department and see what it could be. And I went, met the English department. It was fine. Met the theater department, and I was the only girl in my class that was not a musical theater major. And I was interested in more things than just performing. So I had done technical. I had a background a little bit in technical theater. And Neil and Bill at the time were like, "Oh, you're a girl and you're interested in more than one thing. Come talk to us." And by my end of my second week of college, I became a full-fledged major. I ended up with a BA in theater arts from Mars Hill. By the end of my first semester, I was on scholarship, and that's kind of started my whole career throughout Mars Hill. And then where do we go from there? So I did everything at Mars Hill. I performed on stage. I was an actor. I did every crew position under the sun at Mars Hill, and I got into stage management. The first thing I did was I ASM'd for Children of Eden my sophomore year. And then I stage managed Pirates of Penzance and a play called Six Characters in Search of an Author up into my senior year. And my big thing that I did is I did the student directed one acts at the end of the year. When I was a freshman, I got inspired by that senior class. So I directed Vanities was my final piece. And I took the advanced directing class and I kind of grew from there. But I was never the strongest performer in my class. And I learned that kind of early because I came to acting later. But stage management was kind of my bridge between because I could speak. I still could be involved in the rehearsal process. I'm a big fan of the rehearsal process. So I was able to still be with the actors and work with the actors, but I also was able to be on the technical side as well. And I have kind of a background in both. So then I graduated from Mars Hill in 2005 and I came back to Florida. I worked for SART that summer. And then I did props that summer, I believe. And then I started working. I took a little bit of a break. I ended up going to grad school at FAU for, I concentrated in technical, and I believe what it was, theater construction or something like that. That's not really what I ended up doing. But I spent 12 years working as a regional stage manager down in all different houses down here in South Florida. And I've spent 15 years working with students. Currently, I am the theater program director over at Pinecrest School in Fort Lauderdale. I am starting my fourth year here. I teach fourth and fifth grade, middle school, high school. I'm the acting teacher. I'm the director of the musicals. I direct the plays. I'm kind of all over the place. And I'm also the troupe director for both the senior and junior thespian troupe. So my role has kind of expanded over the years depending on what it's been. Um, Go from there.
Yeah, you are my roommate. You are my
Yeah,
name friend. We
yeah,
like to have that full calendar.
yeah. I never really stopped. I mean, I took breaks throughout the years. Again, when I came home, that was 2005. So I've definitely taken breaks. I definitely have had corporate jobs while I've done stage managing and while I've performed. But stage management kind of came to me because it really was that bridge. And it was a good balance between the two. And I kind of found my strength in there. So,
I love it.
yes,
So obviously this is a crazy busy life and has
yes.
been for you for a while. So do you have like any specific like tools or methods that you use personally to keep you like organized? Like, is there an app that you love? Do you love certain calendars or planners? Anything?
Google Drive is my best friend. So I have a Google Calendar, I have Google Sheets, Google Forms, you name it, I have it. I have a master calendar. You can kind of see it starts on a paper and it goes from there. We are currently in callbacks right now for 42nd Street for my high school students. So I have every event kind of for my year. It kind of starts with the high schoolers and works my way up. I also add in my classes. We switched this year, our software at school was switched over to Canvas. So I've been uploading that stuff into there, but I'm a big fan. Everything's gone digital. When we first started out in the industry, everything was on paper. You had to write everything, you had to turn things in, photocopies. That is not a thing anymore. Everything is on a digital thing. So I'm a big fan of Google Drives. I have different folders for different things. We have separate ones for troop directors. I have separate things for classes. It just kind of keeps me organized and I keep having to check it. I'm also a big one to empower my students to kind of take some leadership roles and help them help me organize because I'm all over the place and I am a cross divisional teacher. So it keeps me, I have to keep myself in balance all the time. But Google Drive has become my best friend.
I agree. There's so many amazing features for Google Drive, and if you really keep it organized, it
Yeah.
sort of just seamlessly transfers to all the things that you need help with.
Yeah.
My my favorite thing that I have used the last couple of years is the Google Keep app. It's almost
Yeah.
like little post-it notes, and it kind of operates the same way as like a Gmail does or your Google Drive. And it's very intuitive, very cool. Yay! Shout out to Google. Didn't know we were doing a Google ad today. Sorry, y'all. So, um, you have done lots of stage management, then you transition into teaching. Uh,
Yep.
oh, just anything else you want to tell us about skills that have overlapped between like running a rehearsal and running a classroom?
They're kind of similar, to be honest with you. When I first took the teaching job here, I thought my high school students were going to be the hardest ones to manage. I was wrong. It is fourth and fifth grade. I was very wrong. My high school students are actually, it's what I look forward to every day. As
Oh
my high school students are giving me two thumbs up. I have two kids in the room
my
right now.
gosh.
Um, but yeah, it's kind of the same type of thing. Stage management, a lot of the times, is balancing personalities and learning how to speak to each other. When I first started to learn how to stage manage, it was a very hard process when you're a student, especially when you have to manage your fellow classmates and your peers. That doesn't always go very well and can be very hard to do. You kind of learn the balance. I've also learned that each student and each person you kind of have to talk to in a different way. You can't just approach them in one way. And it's really key to communicate. That's the number one thing I always tell my students. Communication is key. If you tell me what's going on or if you give me your conflicts, it's much easier for me to work. If I have no idea, it's the same thing with stage management. If I have no idea where an actor is or I have no idea where the technician is, that's a big problem. So all the stuff of communicating and collaborating between departments. I'm constantly, if I'm not in my classroom here, I'm over in the dance studio, I'm up in the tech booth, I'm over in the fine arts office. I kind of keep my thing. I'm in first period chorus here all the time, helping out with that program. So I kind of, it's the same type of thing that I've transferred over, but communication and collaboration are probably the big two that I would say. You have to do that. And as a stage manager, you have to be able to communicate and understand. And what helped with me when I first stage managed, because I was an actor, I could speak like an actor and understood where they were coming from and could handle their frustrations. But I also had the technical experience, so I could talk to the technicians, or I could go in the scene shop and tell the foreman what we needed, or I could write on my rehearsal report what we needed to get done, or I would take care of it myself, just depending on the show or the situation.
So is there any like particular surprising challenge that you've encountered in stage management that might be a surprise for our students? I know that's kind of a trick question.
Surprising? Um, I wouldn't say surprising. It's just how undervalued stage managers are, how people don't realize what their job actually is, that a production does not happen if you don't have a stage manager, or if you have a bad stage manager, what could go wrong. Um, I think sometimes the tech crew gets overlooked. So that's been a big thing that I've learned over the years, and really good stage managers are hard to come by. And also, once you have a reputation of being a good stage manager, you will get hired over and over again.
Yeah.
Um, and people
Yes.
like to keep their stage managers in-house.
Mhm.
The company I worked for right before I took my job here, now has a resident person, but for a while they were kind of going between stage managers because they couldn't really get someone solid to be in the rehearsal space. But when you have a good technician or someone that you want to work with, you want to hire them or you want to make them a resident in-house very quickly.
When I was at SETC last year, chatting with some other regional theaters, actually close to where you live in Florida, Noel, a
Yeah.
couple of them, they were really re-emphasizing that it is very smart and very marketable for a lot of actors to also be great at stage management or set building or any other technical thing because it keeps you employed in the long run. Um,
Or acting. I actually went on stage as a swing in a
Yeah,
show.
see, like, yeah,
So you never know. Literally, I had my director, we had a girl come out of Into the Woods, and I had to go on as one of the stepsisters with an hour's notice because I happened to know the show and I happened to fill things in. And he literally called the show because we didn't have another option. So
is there a video of this? Did anyone take?
there's a photo of this. I don't know if there's videos, but I definitely have photos of this.
We need a video the next time this occurs in your life, Miss Noel.
I've also
Well,
done that on stage. I've done that at a few things. My very first show here at Pinecrest, I had an odd number of students in Greece, and so my student was like, "That's fine. I'm just going to dance with the wall." I said, "No, you're not going to dance with a wall." So I went out in a full costume and danced the hand jive with my student because I didn't want her to dance with the wall. So you never know what can happen with
sometimes
you.
it's the hand jive.
Sometimes it's the hand jive. Yep, you don't know.
I love it. So, all of your experiences in life, I know personally, like you have an intense schedule kind of all the time. Can you
Yes.
tell us about the fun stuff you do? What are your self-care things that you like love to do to get you through being like crazy 24-hour teacher lady?
So it's really important to take the time for yourself to rest. I have found, especially with teaching, you have to balance your personal life and your professional world. I'm a type of person, and most artists are, when they're fully committed to a project, they are all in. You have to be to do this kind of work. But when it is our downtime, you need to rest, you need to recover. Fun things I like to do, I've gotten into paddleboarding the last 5 years. So I'll go out on the water and I'll paddleboard. I've really enjoyed that, or I'll just sometimes I just need a day to recharge. But taking care of yourself is, I'm not good for my students if I'm not okay. And that is something that I've had to learn across the way. And there are days that I'm still emotional or I still have stuff going on or and I try not to bring that to the classroom because your students will notice that. I'm very lucky. My kids have been great, and they understand and they are there for me most of the time, but it's that self-care is so, so important. And you're not your best if you don't rest, if you don't take care of your voice, if you're not, and I tell my kids that too, because you don't want to overstress and that. And I have
Uh,
kids preparing right now to get for college and pre-screen, so we're trying to get everything organized.
oh, how exciting.
Yeah.
Well, I love that quote. I need a poster that says that you're not your best if you don't rest.
Nope.
So just to kind of like wrap up, and then I'll open the floor for some questions if Nate and Fergie have anything they would like to pipe up and say. What do you have coming up? What are your future projects? You mentioned 42nd Street, but what
So
else
for
is on?
So I have 42nd Street that opens in November. I am getting ready to audition for our senior thespian troupe. We were an honor troupe last year. We had a lot of great things with thespians last year. So I'm getting them organized for my junior and senior troupe. I'll help with the upper school play, which is getting announced soon. I have a play that will go on in March. I have another play. I've worked with a church group outside of here with a lot of students. That's kind of one of my connections to the outside world. And that's the other thing I will say, no matter where you work, you're building connections everywhere. Theater is such a small community. You never know who you're going to work with again. So I'll have shows from now till May, pretty much. I have 4 main stage shows this year. plus the thespian stuff, plus we do a Springsteen showcase, plus we're doing a Miscast Cabaret. We have all kinds of events coming up. So I have a very full calendar and I'm very excited. I'm really proud of the senior class in particular. So I'm going to enjoy my time with them this year before they go off to the next level.
Neat.
Yeah.
Well, real quick, Noelle, I want to introduce you to two of our students here. This is Fernanda and Nate. Fernanda is a senior, and she's also on the cheer team and in choir, music minor, and musical theater major. And she is in our upcoming fall musical, Ghost, and
Yay.
playing Oda May. Uh,
Lovely.
yeah, it's gonna be so fun.
That's a fun show.
Yeah. But yeah, and then Nate here is a local fella, went to North Buncombe High School, was over at the music department for a while doing some percussion things, but now is over in theater arts full time. And
Great.
both of them have worked at SART this past summer, summer before, and have
Yep.
some out there in the world experience with the SART friends. But do y'all have anything that you would love to pick Noelle's brain about while we have like 3 or 4 more minutes left on our call?
I do.
No? Okay, go ahead, Nate.
So when transitioning from college, like when you graduate and go off into the professional world,
Yeah.
what's one thing that you wish you knew, like someone had forefronted you about?
Um, you're going to hear no more than you think, especially at the beginning. And sometimes it's about a connection to get through the door. And also, don't take it personally. Sometimes you don't know why. When I first graduated Mars Hill, I went to SART that summer. I worked at SART that summer. And then I was supposed to have an internship that fell apart the last 3 weeks before I was supposed to move to the internship. So it was kind of like, what do I do now? And kind of being able to regroup. But always keep trying and promoting yourself. The more you put yourself out there and promote, the more things will happen and getting to know people. There's a lot of great theater. I know a lot of people think New York or LA or Chicago or all the big cities. There's so much good local stuff. Go to your community theaters, go to your local theaters, go to your non-equity, your equity. That's how you build connections and get points as you go forward. And you kind of go from there. You'll earn your equity points, you'll earn all that stuff as it comes. I personally stayed non-equity while I was a stage manager down here only because I worked more. But I certainly was building points for equity as I went along. If I went back into the industry now, I probably would go for equity just because of the guaranteed paychecks and stuff. But there's different rules, and that just depends on the region. But there's so much good local arts. You just have to kind of put yourself out there. And it's okay to make a mistake. It's okay to not get the first job. You just have to start. And most people start as an intern. That's what I started as, and kind of work your way up.
Awesome. Fernanda, you got anything?
Not really. It was gonna be like the same thing almost. I was just going to ask like about the connections and stuff, but I think you pretty much answered that.
Yeah, and
Mhm.
connections, you'll never know. Like they'll always come back to you. Your teachers. I will also say, because you're both seniors, really enjoy your time there. All my foundations for everything that I've become as an artist, and that started in Mars Hill in those classrooms on that stage. So you don't know how many lessons you are learning right now until later on. And then you kind
Nate,
of learn.
Nate is in a senior. We get to keep him for a little bit longer.
Right. But still enjoy your time there. Really work with your classmates. Like it's such a special place and such a special program. We've really gotten in touch with the alumni the last couple of years about what it's meant to us. So I would really enjoy that time and build your foundations because you'll always go back to that and keep those connections going forward. We also have an incredible alumni network of people that have been through that program, and we're always willing to help you guys out. And we're all over the country. So I happen to be in Florida, but I know we have people all over the place that are wanting to learn and grow from there.
Yes. All right, y'all. Well, I'm going to go ahead and wrap this up. This has been Q to Career at Mars Hill University with our friend Noel Barry down in Florida and Fergie and Nate and myself, Chelsea Gaddy, hanging out, chatting it up. We'll probably do this again next week and bring another friend. And hopefully Noel will be visiting us soon because it's been too long, Noel. You need to come back to the Hill. You need
So
to.
I was supposed to be there for the reunion, and that got ruined last year. I'm
Yeah.
planning to be there. If not sooner, I will be there in the spring for sure. But yes, I am. It's been a long. I haven't seen any of the new renovations. I haven't been on campus
It's
in
gorgeous.
like
Well,
10
by the
years.
time you visit, our new building will be done as well. So
Yay!
we'll take a walk. We'll take a hot dog
Yes.
walk on campus. Love it. All right, y'all. Have a good day. Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye. Thank you guys. So nice to meet you.
Bye.